Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Newly singled dad, near full-time. Needing advice on how to cope with the divorce I didn't want. Hey all. I am writing this to vent and get advice on how to move forward and cope with my divorce after 9 years together, 5 years marriage. I have a 2-year-old son who I will be raising on top of my part-time job. I am okay financially living based on my means, however it is very hard to concentrate on my job during these turbulent weeks. I have a great family on my side who are very involved with my son and happy to keep him during my work. On her side, she has a little good family but some good supportive friends. Here's a synopsis of the last 3 weeks of my life. 3 weeks ago, my wife attempted suicide. I had no idea she was feeling so depressed about being a mother until this happened. She had never attempted suicide before, but she was diagnosed with depression 2 years ago. This was an absolute shock for me. I was emotionally destroyed for the week she was in the psych ward waiting to be released. She was the full-time mother and I was the full-time worker, now downsized to part-time so I could spend more time with my son/wife. Downsizing to part-time was planned before the suicide attempt. After she was released from the psych ward, we had some deep talks about what happened and why. She was feeling like she had no help from me and was resentful towards our child and me as a result, feeling like she has no life and is constrained by the baby. I did everything I could to set a path to recovery for our marriage, told her I would do whatever it took and whatever she needed, and I did start taking the baby much more often to give her free time/space like she asked. This went on for a little less than a week. Then yesterday I tried to have another discussion about where we want our lives to go from here. This is where the truth pours out from her. She tells me she doesn't love me anymore and that she hasn't loved me for a long time. She tells me she doesn't want to be a mother anymore and she doesn't want to be with me. I told her that if she feels that way despite me trying to comfort and change for her any way she wants, then we need to go our separate ways. She packed up and left for a friend's house. This morning I reached out to her telling her I still want our relationship to work and I will still do whatever it takes to make it work. She tells me she can't force herself to love me but that we will talk about it over dinner. We meet up for dinner and she reiterates that she doesn't love me and she doesn't feel like she can love me because of how much I hurt her in the past 2 years since my child was born by not helping her out enough with the baby. She even said things as cold as having a baby was the worst decision I ever made. I love my son more than anything. This broke my heart unlike anything else. She told me there's no way she could love me again and nothing I do can change it. At that point, due to the emotional roller coaster I'd been going through the last 3 weeks, I finally just accepted what she was saying as true and told her we will just have to make the best of a bad situation and be civil about it. I asked if I could have full custody of the child with agreed upon visitation for her at my house in order to keep the child from going back and forth. She agreed to this and said she still wants to be in the baby's life despite telling me she doesn't want to be a mom anymore. We were civil. I felt confident and relieved that there was no more chasing the false hope that we could get back together. I got my son from my parents' house, went home, put him to bed, and found myself sobbing again alone in my office. It hurt that after not seeing our son for days, she doesn't even bother to ask how he is doing. She also barely seemed to care about him during her recovery at the psych ward. I felt a hope once again that there may just be something I can do to fix this. I still felt that she may still love me. I called her again. I felt so defeated, but I called her again. I ask if there's anything I could possibly do to make this work. She again tells me there is not and that she doesn't want to be married to me anymore but does want to be in our son's life still. She has agreed to give me full legal custody with the agreement that she be able to have visitation with him at my house from time to time. Her words were twice a week, but I somewhat doubt she will even want that. With my long depressing story out of the way, I have some questions for the other single dads out there who have gone through/going through a situation like mine. I don't have anyone in my life with this kind of experience who I can talk to. How do you accept the marriage is really over, even when they're telling you straight to your face they don't love you and don't want to be with you anymore? It's so hard for me to accept that reality. I have fleeting moments of acceptance, but then I fall back into asking her if we can make it work again, making me feel pathetic and defeated every time. How do you allow the mother to continue to be in the child's life and remain civil? She said wants us to remain friends. She wants us to spend time together with our son and go out and do things, but the thought of it is gut-wrenching to me because it feels like we are just pretending for a short time to have the relationship she decided to end. Note, I am going to schedule therapy for myself tomorrow. I understand I can't overcome these feelings alone. We had discussed couples therapy before yesterday, but she no longer wants it. I want to remain civil with her, but at the same time have a degree of separation so I can move on. One step at a time. One day at a time. And because you know who you are. You're a good dad, so you'll bear this weight, for your son. Focus on your kid and making you a better version of yourself. I won't help you, just in a similar situation. 10 years plus relationship. Had the conversation last week. She's super clear about not loving me anymore and doesn't want to stay. I just can't accept it right now 99% of the time. Will be shared custody of our daughter, losing my whole universe, our house, our family life, including her family who was very close and me not having one. Going through this now. 14 years, the last half not much fun tbh. We live together most of the time. She's seeing someone else and treats me like a business associate. Currently working out who's going to live where. The bottom has fallen out of my world and I'm dangling in midair, holding the kids up with the other arm. Focus on your son. She sounds like she is going through a lot, but that is her battle and not yours. I would set healthy boundaries and practice co-parenting. She was honest with you, so be grateful for what was and move on. I am sure it's a tough pill to swallow and hurts like hell, but you'll get better with time and you will meet someone new who is a better partner and role model for your son. I am a single dad raising 3 kids on my own. Went through a rough separation with their mother. Believe me, it gets better with time. Brother, stay strong. How do you deal with the trauma of your wife suddenly, to you, informing you about the divorce? I think your therapist will help you, but for me what helped me was understanding that the person I thought I had married had died, and while there was a person walking around who looked like my wife, I really didn't know who that person was at all, and with time I decided I didn't really care to. As to what the future holds, who knows? Taking care of a toddler and changing diapers all the time is a tough job, but it doesn't usually lead a person to suicide. Without being judgmental, can we at least agree that trying to kill yourself is not normal? For the sake of your child, I hope that she is receiving outpatient treatment after her inpatient stay. And that's the hard part, we don't know what the diagnosis was and if treatment is going to be successful. So, here is a suggestion, wait 6 months. See if your wife gets a diagnosis, treatment, and if it is successful. If so, her attitude toward your child and even you might change. 6 months is a sufficient time for both you to start to sort out your feelings and her to get treatment, I'm presuming, for whatever is the underlying cause of the suicide attempt. I think that most people would feel that your actions are very appropriate and protective of your child, as you don't want to allow any possibility of harm to come to your child. But people do sometimes get better, even after a suicide attempt, and achieve mental health, and the picture might be very different in some time. Encourage your wife to seek professional care and go appropriately from there. Not medical advice. Thank you for the wise words. Yes, thankfully she is receiving consistent outpatient treatment. I don't doubt her ability to co-parent for short amounts of time, but I am taking protective measures and thankfully she fully agrees with them. We've agreed to give me full custody but allow for her to have visitation at my home where I can supervise. None of this is on paper yet, but we've verbally agreed to it and she seems happy with it. Hopefully she doesn't go back on it during the legal process. Sadly, I feel her reasoning for being happy with it is because she doesn't want to be a mother anyway. Honestly, just focus as much as you can on your kid for a while. It'll give you and him some time to process before you have to deal with the harsh realities, and it'll keep you distracted while you're coming to terms. I 100% support therapy if you can afford it. Get in touch with friends that may have fallen to the wayside since you got married, if that applies to you. If she starts reneging and being a disruptive force in your child's life rather than a helpful one, please do not be afraid to be strong and do what is best for your kid. Having a mom that constantly disappoints you and makes you feel used/unworthy/unloved is worse than an absent mom. You'll likely find somebody that will love him unconditionally as a stepmother, or you stay single and that's okay too. Just be sure to remind yourself that this is about him more than it is about you or his mom. If you constantly ask yourself what's best for my kid, then the pieces will eventually all start falling into place for you. Good luck, and I'm sincerely sorry this happened to you and your child. Side note, depression is weird and it makes you selfish. It's entirely possible that she will work on herself and become a healthier person and find space to love herself, and consequently love her child properly again. I personally would never again trust her with residential custody of the kid, but letting her back into his life in baby steps might be healthy down the road if she takes care of herself. Thank you all for the support. Your words have been a big help to me. I will focus on my son and improving myself. I'm starting to accept the marriage is really over. The ex has been honest, though it has been brutal and selfish in my eyes. However, I am lucky she is saying she will give me full custody. She said she wants to see him once/twice a week at my house, which I can supervise, thank God. It's mind-blowing to me, but I can't deny her words when she says this is what she wants. The loneliness is creeping in hard despite my accepting she doesn't love me anymore. I plan to start spending more time with the family and some friends, which I hope will help with that. I don't even want to think about dating ATM lol, but realistically I will probably try again one day, once I get over my trust issues. Believe it or not, my son seems happier now with myself being the main caretaker along with the help of my parents. The bonding time with him has been amazing. Also, I forgot today was the start of the weekend, so I will have to wait till Monday to schedule that therapy lol. But it will happen. Join a gym with childcare, and/or buy a jogging stroller. Sounds simple, but it's what I did. Take care of yourself and you will be the best father and happy at the same time. You can do this. Depressed people can be incredibly selfish, to the point of seeming downright evil and uncaring. Don't take it personally. Don't even get angry for the sake of your child when she says something horrible or chooses to ignore him. When my ex left, she didn't care to see the children for the next 3 weeks in spite of living less than a block away. Accept that the relationship you knew is dead and gone beyond recovery. There is someone wearing the face of your former partner, but don't mistake this person for her. The partner was a construct of the role she chose to play and your interpretation of that role. She has chosen to end that role, so neither of these apply. In all ways that matter, that partner no longer exists. What she now is to you is up to you. My ex had a weird notion that after a rather brutal breakup, I no longer have any feelings towards you, plus I'm in love with someone else, plus would you like to still pretend marriage for the children? We would still be friends and do things together. It didn't even occur to her that I might not find this agreeable, or that I might be insulted by the welfare scams she tried to blackmail me into. The divorce was not a class act, and I kept wondering who this person was and where these characteristics had been hiding for years. I recommend being cool and civil. My ex and I discuss the children, and sometimes even some common interests, but I typically cut short discussions of personal issues on either side. Your child is the most important thing and you cannot rely on your ex. Think thoroughly about what you're going to say to him. You need to be honest, anything else will bite you later, but you don't need, and probably shouldn't, tell the whole tale yet. Above all, make it absolutely clear that nothing in this is his fault and he could not have done anything about it. These things happen, and sometimes adults grow to be incompatible. Does mommy still love me? Is a tough one, but don't lie. I don't know is an acceptable answer, if forced to say anything. Mom and I can't live together anymore since she doesn't love me. We talked about things and we came to the conclusion that it's better for you to be with me, since I can care for you better, is honest and avoids talking about her preferences. She can open that can of worms if she wants to, and she might, so be prepared to take care of the aftermath and convince him of your unconditional and unending love. Good luck. And again, you can do this. It'll occasionally feel hard, but you can. Remember to take care of yourself. Income taxes during divorce. Does the working spouse pay 100% taxes? Hello, myself and my soon-to-be ex-wife are divorcing, currently separated. We agree on all aspects of the split, so there's not going to be a court battle assuming all continues to go well. I will receive full custody of our only child, with her getting visitation twice a week. There will be no child support/spousal support paid by either of us. I work for a startup company and have done thousands of dollars worth of online sales this year before our separation, and will owe a large, for my means, amount of taxes at the end of the year. I have been putting back 30% of all of my income for taxes, which is much higher than the rate I will actually be paying. Excess tax savings was going to go to our emergency funds. With the surprise divorce announcement about a week ago, I am trying to figure out how our money/taxes will be split. I was the sole worker, and therefore the taxes are on my income. However, because we are divorcing, the funds in our bank accounts will be split 50-50. Will my ex-wife be responsible for half of the income taxes, considering she will be taking half of the income tax money I put back? Or will I be responsible for 100% of the taxes at the end of the year? For example, say I have 10k put back in a savings account for taxes at the end of the year. She gets 5k and I get 5k of the money I've put back for taxes. Assuming the income taxes owed are 10k at the end of the year, will I be responsible for 10k, or will we both be responsible for 5k? If I am responsible for 100%, it will be very difficult for me to claw my way up to affording those taxes. I'm hoping the taxes will be split between us, or perhaps I will be able to keep the tax money so I do not end up in debt. How do taxes typically work during divorce with one income earner, in the simplest terms possible? Thanks in advance. The answer to this can vary. Maybe you have more expenses during certain quarters, can't afford the tax loss, versus another quarter where you have almost no expenses and can save away. Maybe you choose to invest that money all year and then cash out at the end to pay for it. Maybe you're just the skeptical type that doesn't trust the government to give estimates or properly disperse your back taxes. Maybe you're on a varied/seasonal pay scale and your wage goes up and down rapidly. Maybe you're banking on getting certain expense-based tax write-offs that you want factored into your total. A lot of valid reasons to choose the end of year rather than quarterly. Said, for example, say I had put $10,000 back in a savings account for taxes. That tells me most of these wouldn't apply and he should pay estimated taxes. Then he would always be able to reduce towards the end of year or get a refund solely to him. This way, he's splitting his savings and paying taxes, or having her pay taxes, which would entitle her to a refund, if there was one. I agree that his choice doesn't make a lot of sense as written, especially since the money is literally just sitting there. I was just pointing out that there are a lot of reasons you wouldn't pay quarterly. In this specific case it could simply just be I just like paying at the end of the year, which we may think is weird, but is also very valid. I also don't think Hop would be as behind as he thinks. Losing the wife's cost of living expense probably more than covers putting an extra 10 to 20% away for the rest of the year. Over a week separated, I keep asking her questions. In the early stages of our separation now, having a lot of pain still but feeling more confident. However, I'm still having trouble understanding how she fell out of love with me and dropped me so easily. After 9 years together and 5 married, she seems to have moved on from myself so quickly. I've accepted it's over and our marriage needs to end, but I still can't wrap my head around how she dropped me like a rock after 9 years. I find myself calling her from time to time just to ask questions like, "Are you honest with me still?" It doesn't matter anymore because we are over and we both know it, but I just want to know, have you done anything with that male friend of yours that I don't know about? Do you ever miss me? Answer, no. Just like I thought. As if she would give me an honest answer about anything anyway. I even have a question prepped for her tomorrow when she comes to see our son. I just want to know, when did you stop loving me? What caused it? I don't even believe her answers, yet I keep asking questions. She has not reached out but twice since we separated. Once to ask if she can see our son, and once to ask about her friend's money. I have reached out many times, mostly business, but at times to just ask questions that make me feel pathetic. I feel pathetic because I keep reaching out to her to ask questions, yet she is content with not talking to me except when absolutely necessary. It amazes me that she hasn't asked me any questions, and hasn't cared one bit since the separation. Seems chipper every time I call her, yet I'm still struggling so badly at times. Partly venting, but I would like some tips on how to make yourself stop reaching out to the STBX that has fully moved on. How can I make myself stop wanting to accept for purely business? Update 1. An update to this from yesterday. We were together yesterday co-parenting our son. She pulled out a cigarette and said, "I know you won't like this, but I've been smoking twice a day for over a year." I had always thought she might be smoking because I would smell it on her breath at times, but I would always give her the benefit of the doubt. She would lie and even go as far as to gaslight me about it dozens of times over the past year. I was very angry as I have major trust issues which she is and was aware of. I've cried on her shoulder a few months ago about the stress of being lied to by my compulsive liar father, but little did I know she was lying just the same and even going as far to gaslight me about it. "It must be the neighbor's fireplace you're smelling. No, those are your mom's cigarettes. She just left them and I'm taking them back to her. They prescribe nicotine gum to everyone. I just cancelled it because I don't need it." Love is blind, guys. Just goes to show how good she really is at lying, and if she is capable of lying about something that's small, but right under my nose for over a year, I can only imagine what else she is lying about. She has shown herself to be a slick liar, so I am now going with my gut feeling on pretty much everything about her. I'm just now realizing it and I feel like an idiot, but at least now I know how good she is at lying. I feel awakened but also defeated and made a fool. The silver lining is, it makes it a lot easier for me to distance myself from her. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night. Wherever you are.